All right, the last step for this project is to create sides on this so it can stand up off of the table a little bit and give you some more ideas of depth that it's created from cutting and bending the paper. Okay, so I suggest 3 to 4 sides. We're basically making a frame in the back. And it will allow it to sit up a little bit off of the surface so you can see the dark areas, the negative spaces that you've created. So we're working on the back side. This side has all of the pencil marks, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a piece of chipboard and we're gonna make little strips. So I'm just using 3. You can use 4 if you'd like. 3 will give it a little bit of lift. You have this in your material bag, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the self-healing mat, put that down, your knife and a ruler, and to make it the easiest of all, just grab a pencil, put your ruler on the chipboard at the edge, press down, and run your pencil down. So you have, it's about 1 inch. Okay, put your ruler here again. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna have 3 or 4 strips measured by this ruler. The ruler is just a spacer. That looks great. Now, the X-Acto. This is thicker than paper, so I'm standing up. I would recommend you stand up to do this cut because it's thicker, meaning you're gonna have to have more pressure downward, putting into the chipboard through the knife and bringing it back towards you. Sitting down, it's harder to do, I think. So I work standing up. Take your ruler. The ruler is going to be the guide, so it's really important that you are pressing down onto this ruler. So line it up at the edge, okay? Press down firmly, and then put your knife into the chipboard firmly and bring it down against the guide of the ruler. Okay, I'm really pushing in. I'm using my muscles and pushing into this self-healing mat because I really want to make that cut. I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to keep cutting for 10 minutes. And I also want to have a nice crisp line. So it didn't go all the way through, but I do have a nice start. And I've scored it, okay? So I can follow that score line now. And you've noticed I've removed my ruler. It's only because I've scored through here about, 80% of my cut is already done. This is almost done. So there's a little channel here that my knife just follows. Don't try to cut this. Don't try to just cut this without a guide. It's nearly impossible. Okay, good. My edge is clean. It's the same measurement on the top and bottom. Good. Next one. I'm only gonna do 3. You can do 3 or 4. Okay, use this as a guide. Push down pretty hard. Again, I'm standing up. I'm leaning into this cut, and I'm putting my weight into it. I'm putting pressure on it, and I'm using my muscles to draw that knife back. Okay, press down firmly. My knife is pressing down into that self-healing mat. Okay, again, I've scored this pretty easily. Now I can just follow that groove down. Again, pressing hard, but the knife is guided in that groove because I've cut it about 80% of the way. And I'm just like loosening it up. There. Okay, number 2. Good, let's do number 3. And I know I'm repeating myself, but you do need to press down. Now, if I had a super heavy duty and large paper cutter, I could just paper cut this. You can cut it different ways than the knife, but everybody has a knife in their material bag, and so I thought that would be pretty easy. Okay, there you go. And make sure that your other hand is here and it's not in the way of the knife. Okay, so I have those 3 pieces. Perfect. So on the back side, I'm just gonna make like a 3-sided frame. You could have 4 sides if you want, but it's just to give it a little bit of lift off of the table surface. So right now, this is too long. See how long that is? Too long. Okay, so an easy way to do it, we're gonna stand it up like this, but I wanna trim it. So if we put it behind here, you can just trace the bottom and cut that. Okay, so that will be cut the right length. Same thing here. Okay. So these will be our sides, and then we'll have one more that goes along the top. Okay, so now the paper we're working with is 12 by 12 inches, so you are getting the same measurement on every side. What we're gonna do is we're gonna glue these this way, okay, 2 of them. So here's the other side, glued over here up perpendicular, and then the top is gonna fit in between these 2 sides. So what's gonna happen is we are going to cut a smaller piece for that top because it's gonna fit inside the 2 perpendicular edges. Okay, so you can run a strip of glue. You have this in your bag, and the Elmer's glue is great, but you have to kind of hang out with it for a while because it's not a quick dry glue and it needs to set up. So this is like back to beginning part where you don't want to have a ton of glue on your paper. You might need to get a paper towel and just wipe the crease so you don't have blobs and blobs of glue. What you see is what you get. If you see a whole big globby mess, it's gonna dry a huge big globby mess. This is gonna dry white just like you see it here. So I would clean it up as you go. So right now it's like waiting for paint to dry. You have to just hold it and you're waiting, right, for this edge. There's your edge. It's perpendicular to the base. We're working on the back side, So we have all the pencil marks on the back, and this little support is going to be on the back. It's like a frame. So you have to just hang out and let it dry. You can support it with something, put a little something here so it can stand up and lean on it. Okay, but you're gonna have to let that dry. You're gonna do the same thing over here. Okay, and then we're gonna take our third piece and we're gonna put it inside this all the way across. See how long it is right now? It's way, way long. So I'm going to have to measure it so it fits inside those two. But right now I want to glue this right side on so I can tell what the measurement would be. Okay, here's a finished piece. So this is the front, the back. Looks like this. And so what we did last semester, we poked holes back here in the frame and we strung them across the gallery and hung them. So this was like the back support. We had a piece